If you have kids, you understand how much you worry about them. From trying to get them to stay on top of their homework to eat their vegetables, the worrying never really stops. Even when they're adults, you still worry about them. After all, they will always be your child, no matter how old they or you are. I'm a mother of 3, and life is hectic. My oldest son is in hockey, and that takes up most of our nights and weekends. Our middle son isn't into much. He really likes to read and play video games. My youngest is my daughter. She's 14 years old, and she is a handful. I'm not sure if it's just the usual differences between boys and girls, but I'll tell you one thing, raising a son is very different from raising a daughter. Friends had warned me about that. They all said the same thing, that raising boys is harder when they're younger because they're so active, busy, and can't sit still. When boys are older, it gets easier. They're just not as complex as girls. Girls are easier to raise when they're younger, but harder as they grow up. The story I'm about to tell you will confirm that. When my 14-year-old daughter Maddie went into grade 9, I was worried. I was worried she would fall in with the wrong crowd or care too much what other kids thought of her. As it turns out, I had to worry about what she thought about herself. I started to notice that she was putting on weight but didn't think much of it. She started out very skinny, so even with putting on 20 pounds, she didn't look unhealthy or particularly overweight. She had my body type, tall and slim. As she got deeper into the school year, it seemed like her belly was just getting bigger and bigger. She was getting bigger all around, but her belly in particular seemed to be growing a lot. I wasn't sure how to approach the topic with her. The last thing you want to do, especially with girls, is give them body issues. She had always been so skinny, I thought maybe it was just natural that her body would change as she went through puberty. I talked to my husband about it, and he said we shouldn't mention it. He said it would make her feel bad and that we should keep an eye on her to see if anything else seemed off. I was uneasy about such a passive approach, but I had asked for his advice and didn't want to cause a fight by asking him what he thought, then ignoring what he said. Plus, I really wasn't sure if it was something I should bring up with her or not. More time passed, and she seemed to be getting bigger. I had talked to my girlfriends about it and decided that enough was enough. That night, I told my husband that I needed some alone time with my girl. I picked her up from school and took her to the mall and went shopping. She was shy about trying on clothes and showing me. I wondered if it was because of the weight she had put on or some other reason. We didn't shop for long as neither of us really seemed that into it. We went to her favorite restaurant for dinner. I was nervous, trying to decide on the perfect way to broach the topic. We had always been close, and I knew she knew something was on my mind. She said, "Am I in trouble or something? You've been acting weird for a while now." I cleared my throat and said, "You know you can talk to me about anything, right?" "I think so," she said. It bothered me that her answer seemed more like a question, and I could tell she wasn't really sure if she could talk to me about all things. I told her it was normal to change going through the teenage years, but that I had noticed a change in her that I wasn't sure was cause for concern or not. I chose my words carefully. "Your father and I have been noticing that you seem to be putting on a lot of weight. You are a beautiful girl at any size, and I want you to know that. I was just wondering if it was because of something particular going on, or if it was just natural changes." Maddie put down the fries she was about to pop into her mouth and looked down at her plate. She said there was something she thought I might want to know, but didn't want me to flip out. She told me that she had been feeling like she was too skinny for quite some time. I said, "What do you mean, too skinny?" She said that all her friends had curves and boobs and that the boys seemed to like it. She had an athletic build like me, which meant long, gangly legs and arms, a flat chest, and a muscular physique. Not exactly every junior high boy's fantasy. She told me that she had started to feel really self-conscious about her body in grade 7, but that she had only this year decided to do something about it. I said, "What do you mean, do something about it?" She told me that she had started overeating on purpose a year before. She told me that every chance she got, she was shoving donuts and any other fattening food she could find into her mouth. She told me that it had become compulsive and that she couldn't stop. She said that the bigger she got, the bigger she felt she had to get. I was worried. I had heard about the common eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia, but I had never heard of the opposite, where someone thought they were too skinny and needed to compulsively fatten up. That night when I crawled into bed with my husband, I snapped the bedside light on and told him we had to talk. I told him what Maddie had told me and how concerned I was. He was shocked and also hadn't heard of any kind of eating disorder like that. I immediately started Googling it on my phone and found that there is indeed a condition, unofficially called bigorexia, where people felt like their bodies were too small. Officially, it seemed to be a kind of body dysmorphia where people didn't see their bodies accurately. Apparently, it's common in bodybuilders or people who have lost a lot of weight but struggle to adjust to their new body while holding on to their old body image. I phoned our family doctor the next morning and made an appointment to go in and talk to him. He said that it was actually more common than most people think. We talked about how it needs to be treated like any other eating disorder and to bring Maddie in to talk to him. The next day when Maddie got home from school, I decided to talk to her again. She wasn't overly receptive, but seemed interested in what I had to say. I told her about body dysmorphia and asked her if it sounded like how she was feeling. She started to cry. She told me that it had started in grade 7 when a boy she liked had told one of her friends that he really liked her, but wouldn't date her because she was too skinny and had no body. She said that, from that moment, she had started to hate her body and believed that she was too skinny. She had talked to a friend about it who jokingly said, "Well, get fatter then, that's easy enough." She said she had started picking up donuts on the way to school and shoving them in her mouth 2 at a time. Once she started to put on weight, she felt happy because she was finally getting boobs like her friends. She felt sure boys would like her more. As time went on, she said she never felt good enough and thought that more weight would make her feel better. With every pound she put on and as her belly got bigger and bigger, she said she just needed more and wanted to eat more. Now, she said she actually wanted to keep eating, not just to put on weight, but because she was actually hungry. Her appetite had become huge, and now we needed to go see the doctor about how to face this issue. The doctor gave us the name of a counselor who specialized in teens with body issues. Maddie was hesitant to go, but open enough to try it. After her first session, she came home drained but said that she wanted to start working towards a healthy relationship with her body. She saw the counselor once a week, and we had to keep a food journal that kept track of everything Maddie ate, as well as things she wanted to eat but didn't. 4 months later, Maddie seems much healthier. She has lost 15 pounds so far. And while it was hard at first for her not to see herself as getting too skinny, she told me recently that she didn't even care what she looked like anymore, but just wanted to be healthy. To watch more animated story videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And tell us in the comments section what you thought about this story.